There's a light in the sky, rising in the air. There's a feeling so strong. It's time to light the fire, like a bright shining light. Learn, getting more out of life. Learn, sharing time with friends, feeling so strong.
Yes, hello and welcome to the New Look House of Wellness. Great to be with you. We are all about entertaining everybody to live a healthier life, and that's exactly what the three people joining me on the couch are up to every day. Great to be sitting alongside Joe Stanley. How are you, Joe? Rachael Finch, Hinesy.
Great
Hi,
to
guys.
see you, mate. Awesome.
Now, Rach, I want to start with you. Healthy mind, healthy body. That's what you are all about every day, but it's not as simple as that sometimes, is it?
No, it's incredibly complex, and I think more and more these days we're hearing a lot about this gut health. I think every bottle that we pick up in the supermarket, we're constantly seeing it. And I just think it's incredible how powerful these hundreds of species of bacteria living in our digestive system really are, Joe.
Oh, absolutely, Rach. You know, they call the gut the mini brain, which is because there are more neurons in the gut than in the spinal cord. And I think I'm right in saying this, Dr. Vincent Ho, there's more serotonin, that happy chemical, in our gut than in our brain.
That's amazing.
Is that true?
It's absolutely true. So the great thing about this is that the gut we can think of as a mini brain. It's got 500 million neurons, 1% of the number of neurons in the human brain, and 5 times the number in the spinal cord. There's lots of complex neurotransmitters like serotonin, as you mentioned, and that's an important regulator of mood, and 90% of the body's serotonin is made by the gut.
Wow. Amazing. So I'm going to cut to the chase here and I'm going to try to be really mature about this, Dr. Vincent, because you are all about poo and how important it is to our health. Yes?
That's right. Look, I can't tell you how important poo is to our health because it's a good marker of our gut health. We knew from even ancient times that people could divine and study poo, and that there was an art called scatomancy. The Egyptians even used dung beetles to look at poo, and they would scurry around. You could work out someone's health by looking at the behaviour of these dung beetles. Now, fortunately, we're a bit more sophisticated than that. We've got better ways to actually evaluate our gut bacteria. And speaking of that, you know, we have 100 trillion gut bacteria. It counts for around 2 kilos in the average person. So at home, on your scales, you can blame 2 kilos of that to gut bacteria.
Wow. Good to know. You're very passionate about the gut. Can you tell us what actually is the gut?
Well, the gut, or the gastrointestinal tract, tracks the movement of food from when it comes into the mouth down from when it comes out through the anus. In that process, food is digested, so it's broken down into small parts, small nutrients, and then it's absorbed. So it's absorbed, and that nutrients then go into the bloodstream and distributed out to different tissues.
So speaking of food, I mean, I love looking after my gut. Bone broth, fermented veggies. Yeah. Now, we have to get a variety of vegetables to get a variety of gut microbiome. But what I'd like to say is it's not just what we're eating, it's what we're actually digesting that's important as well, because we can eat all the healthy food in the world, but if our gut isn't healthy, we're not going to absorb the nutrients.
That's exactly right, Luke. And the important point here is that digestion, as well as absorption, are two of the most important processes in the gut. We know with digestion, it begins in the mouth. We've got salivary enzymes, we've got chewing that breaks down food into small balls. Those balls then go down that food pipe or esophagus by these muscular contractions called peristalsis, goes into our stomach, and in the stomach you've got powerful enzymes, you've got acid, breaks down food into small bits, and then actually the lower part of the stomach is like a blender. It brings it down, breaks it down, and it goes to the small bowel.
So, Vincent, I don't wish to dwell on this, but getting back to poo, what should our poo look like? I'm scared to ask, but I'm told there's a, you know...
I think that we need to look at the Bristol stool chart. So this is a medical aid that was developed back in 1991. We can see it over here. It's got 7 different types. And it's a way to classify a poo form into these 7 types so that we can discuss this between ourselves and with our health professionals. You can see with type 1, you've got hard lump almost like nuts. So that's you might
Oh my God,
expect that.
Which of those should we be aiming for?
We should be aiming for, ideally, the ideal stool type is type 3, which is like a sausage.
Yep.
I've always loved sausages, but I don't think anymore.
Actually, type 4, a sausage which is smooth and soft.
I've just got a quick question. Is it worse to have hard lumps or watery stools?
Well, look, I think that both of those, I would say that they can be problematic. So, yeah, look, I would say it's
they're a
problematic.
reflection of not eating well or not the greatest of lifestyles. I guess.
Can I just jump in and apologise? If you're sitting down for your Sunday lunch and watching the House of Wellness, you might want to take a little break here. I've been accused of talking a bit of BS over the journey, but we're actually getting ridiculous now. This is out of control.
I don't know, but the Bristol stool chart sounds like a nightclub I went to in the 90s, actually.
So should we be actually having a look back and checking it out, Dr. Ho? Is that a practice? Everyone does it, let's be honest. Let's be serious. Everyone has a look.
Yep.
You know, the great thing about us having this conversation on the couch is that we're talking about this. I mean, you know, best friends, family members, they don't talk about this because there's almost like a stigma or a taboo about discussing around poo and bowel motion.
And Doctor, do you think a lot of people live for so long with the way that their stool is that they don't remember what it's actually like to have a healthy stool?
That's right. I mean, the great thing about focusing on bowel motions and being aware of it is that you can actually look for changes in your bowel motions that can be serious. For example, if you find blood in your bowel motions, that may be a sign that there's something else going on that's more serious that should be explored.
Dr. Ho, you've got a wealth of knowledge. I all of a sudden feel like I need a toilet break. Joe, we're going to go to a break now. Thank you to our expert, Dr. Ho, to get you back more. Plenty more to come on the House of Wellness. Welcome back to the House of Wellness. Vanessa Tahoe is our tech lover, tech expert, tech guru. There's a whole heap of titles we've got for you, Vanessa. Great to have you on the couch. Now, I've got an issue that Joe told me off air, which I think we can maybe solve for you. Around your husband, Darren,
It might have been just for us, Das. But
if you tell me something off air, I promise you it'll always come onto the show. Now, Darren's got a bit of a drama around open for inspection. Is that?
Look, in the past, when we were, say, looking for rental properties or whatever, and we were doing, going from house to house, opens for inspection, he always was caught short. And I was like, you can't use the toilet in someone else's house.
No.
That's a no-go.
Come on, Darren, that's not.
He just seems, I don't know. I'm like, go at home. But it's always bad luck for him. Have you got something that can help us out when we're out about and we might be caught short?
Look, Joe, that's a really common problem for people. When I was house hunting, that was a problem for me as well.
You didn't use the rental toilet, did you, for an open inspection?
I absolutely did not.
Yeah, I'm glad we
She's a normal person.
Didn't that mess with the smell of cinnamon that they've just put
Yeah,
out?
and you also can't risk a non-flushing one.
Oh my gosh, I know. Can you imagine?
Yeah, imagine it's not going to go down.
The horror.
The government has actually put together a website with a companion app that is designed to solve your problems in this space. It is at toiletmap.gov.au, and you can also go to the National Public Toilet Map app, and it's a fantastic resource for just this occasion.
So what does it do? Bring up a map, essentially, of where you are and little pins dropped everywhere?
Yeah, you can add your current location and it'll either give you a map or you can look at a list view if you prefer that. Particularly if you're differently abled, you might prefer a list view so that your voice apps can read it to you.
Okay,
This
well,
is really
Great.
helpful.
This is great for when you're toilet training too. Because that is
Exactly.
the worst time of your life when your kid goes, I need to go to the toilet now. It's like, what?
Even though they've just gone just before you leave the house.
Is there any type of rating system? I mean, we all love a clean loo, and we don't want to spend too much time having to
I think
prepare
because
it.
the government made this app, they have not put a rating system in. They are trying to be
That would be
diplomatic.
great if you could rate your loo.
It would be great.
So I've got 4 kids, Vanessa. I'm very comfortable with a bushy. So if there's a tree in a reasonable location, what are you looking at me strangely now? You've got 3 boys and they're not going to wait for an app and go to a government-approved toilet.
In the middle of an urban street.
If you're behind a tree, no one can see you. I've got no issue with
And
that.
wiping?
The number ones, mate.
Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry, I feel like all we're talking about is poo.
Well,
So,
I've got a doggy bag to pick after them.
good to hear.
Just quickly, Vanessa, you approve of that or not?
Oh, absolutely. If it's discreet, if it can be done,
Yeah.
then sure. I mean, you know, I go camping. These things have to happen. Look, the app does differentiate between whether you're on foot or in a car. So I guess there's a sense of urgency
handy.
there. If you're wandering on foot, it limits your options.
Yeah, and you do that walk that you do when you were trying not to run, but you're also in a hurry.
When you're dragging the kids behind you.
The other thing is being out of reception, because a lot of us go camping, we're off grid.
Yeah.
Then what?
That is absolutely an issue, and normally I would love to have an offline app that you could do something like that with. I would recommend that
Download it before.
you can download it before.
A bit more militant overseas. You find that you have to pay to use the toilet, or there's not. You get a dirty look in a restaurant if you travel around sneaking in and not ordering something. Whereas
True.
fairly comfortable here in Australia around just sneaking in to use the bathroom, Joe.
Yeah, that's why we go to McDonald's, isn't it? I mean, I like the food too. I mean, I was a health and wellness show.
It's a wrong show, Joe, for that particular.
Cafe is semi-healthy.
Look, I will go to great lengths to get my training and nutrition and life in order that I don't have to do a public poo.
What?
If preferable, just keep it at home.
Do you have
not
like
even at your
a
friend's
schedule?
house. You sleep well, you move, it happens.
Oh,
I think it's worth reaching out to your mates and saying, where is the best public toilet around here? Because if you're in the city, sometimes you can get a toilet with a view. You know, the
Yes.
Sofitel in Melbourne is quite
that
famous.
is a good loo.
And I'm told that at the MCG, not for the women, of course, but for the men, there's in the long room, there's a loo with a view straight down the
Straight
pitch.
down the middle of the MCG.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you do feel
absolutely.
better when you've come out of a really beautiful, luxurious loo. You just feel,
You feel
a little
empty.
bit more polished. You know?
Like you've earned it.
No, is that not right?
I don't think we can polish this segment anymore, Vanessa. Thank you very much. We'll put on the houseofwellness.com.au. Vanessa's got a great app for you if you get caught short. Thanks, Vanessa. You're going to be coming back later in the show, which I'm looking forward to talk more technology, this time on Dream Apps. Welcome back to the House of Wellness. In a few weeks' time, some of the most well-chiselled bodies in the world will battle it out in the finals of the Arnold Classic, Joe. And if that name has a ring to it, you're right. It's an event named after the great man himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'd like to try and do an Arnold accent now, Joe, if I could, but that's not possible.
Do you think that's wise? No.
No, probably not. Well, Hines, it's a sport that's had a huge resurgence, and the Arnold's now become one of the biggest bodybuilding events on the continent, correct?
That's exactly right, mate. And a lot of people at home might be remembering that there's a lot of fake tan and eensy-teensy tiny sparkly underwear, but there's actually a whole lot more that goes into it. And it's a pretty serious sport, and it takes a lot of discipline, Das.
Well, we've tapped into the training of one of the young guys in Melbourne who's giving it his all in the countdown to the competition. Let's take a look.
If I'm on stage, I wouldn't call myself an athlete. Like, people have said, like, you would be able to fight your way out of a white wet paper bag on stage. Like, you can flex, you can pose, but that's it. Like...
30-year-old Lawrence Templar is more than aware that looks can be deceiving.
It's not an ultimate form of yourself. Looking and aesthetically pleasing wise, yes, but not physically. Like, you're not going to be able to run a marathon.
It may look like bodybuilding to the untrained eye, but this is body physique.
Usually we have more of a longer kind of look. We're usually a lot taller, different posing completely, whereas mine is more about the midsection and making my shoulder look as wide as I can, waist look as small as I can. Bodybuilder, everything's big. Everything is perfectly shaped and in symmetry.
Let's go, bro. Big set.
For 20 weeks, Lawrence has been putting himself through his paces.
Up. Let's go. And one.
A daily grind of training, diet and sleep in an effort to be at his absolute peak.
Yep, come on. Sweet, good set.
I've always been around 89, 86 kilos, and I've always stayed fairly lean. For this comp, I did have to put on a bit of size, which is why I was eating so much in the beginning. From eating 2,600 calories a day to going to 3,800 calories a day and having a refeed on top of that once a week. It's just honestly about consistency and training hard.
3 more, bro. Keep the chin up. 3.
Prep for a competition of this calibre takes the right combination of focus, science and a good coach.
Last one. Control the bottom. Squeeze it up. Yep, that's it. All the way. Good set. It's a 24/7 thing. We're always thinking about it. Our sleep is important, our water, our food, like everything we put into our mouths. We're coming to the gym 3 times a day. It can be hard to switch off, especially when you're close to comp, but yeah, it's a 24/7 thing.
Meals are set for the entire week, selecting the right balance of ingredients, weighing and portioning, and then adjusting according to changes in weight.
In the morning, I've got my egg whites, my vegetables, and then I'll have my fish, asparagus. I had my pre-workout, which is chicken, rice, vegetables. My meal after that will be kangaroo, 200 grams. I usually weigh everything. Then the meal after that, fish again. But I do get to have 30 grams of peanut butter, which does taste very nice. And then my last meal is 2 containers of kippers. With greens, what I usually do is go in bunches. So say if one of the meals is fish and asparagus, I know to have half a bunch of asparagus per meal. Makes it a bit easier, especially when I'm doing grocery shopping. At the moment, I'm only having 100 grams of white rice pre-training, but prior to this, I was having 5 meals with over 200 grams of either white rice or potato throughout the day. So it does change as you get closer to the show.
Elbows up. Yeah, like that.
After the training, we always do a bit of posing just to kind of see how my body's moving, see how I am posing, because if I'm posing at a wrong angle for the judges where they'll be sitting, he can let me know, okay, no, change this, move this. That way it'll look a bit better for when you're on stage.
You got to trust your coach and just follow the process, and he's done it all, which is, yeah, it's really good. That's why he looks the way that he looks.
Wow.
That's great. I admire that discipline and everything, but I don't know why. To me, that's not super attractive as a woman. I like my husband being a little bit kind of normal-ish.
What an incredible athlete, though. That is such
Absolutely.
a mental game as well.
It's a commitment.
Yeah, absolutely. That takes serious commitment.
Like
I've been
it's
thinking about getting into a
24/7.
bit of bodybuilding,
Have
actually.
you?
Yeah.
When are you going to start that?
Oh, seriously?
No, probably not, actually. But what we will do, we'll follow Lawrence as he's heading towards the Arnolds in next week's show, and we'll also see him compete and get him into the studio after the event. I'm with you, Rach. I'm not sure that's for everyone, but
He's not doing it for that purpose. He's doing it for what he can
Yeah.
prove to himself. Like, how far can I push my body and my brain? I think that's amazing.
It's incredible stuff.
Yeah.
Really can't wait for him to come in studio.
we'll look forward to that. Coming up, what do dreams tell us all about our health? That's next on the House of Wellness.
There is nothing better than a good dream, but the biggest issue for me is remembering them, which is really frustrating, Rach.
It is frustrating. I always find myself in dangerous or scary situations, and the worst part is I can never get out. But we may just have some answers today. Jane Teresa Anderson has been interpreting dreams for almost 30 years, and with 5 books under her belt, I'm sure she can answer all of our questions today. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi.
Jane Teresa, why are some dreams so vivid and the others so difficult to remember?
I think we tend to remember the vivid ones when we've had a lot of emotion in a dream. So we're really angry or excited or sad or we have grief. Those kind of emotions actually are felt in our body. So when you have a dream when you're really scared, your brain actually releases the fear hormones and you wake up and you think that it's really happened. That's what helps you to remember them.
So there's all types of theories on dreams. Can they actually be a reflection of our day-to-day lives?
Absolutely, yes. When you know how to look into a dream, you get to see your unconscious mind, what you've been processing for the last 1 or 2 days, where your limiting beliefs are, where your repressed emotions are. You can look into a dream and say, you know what, this is why you're experiencing life the way that you do. Would you like to change that?
Wow.
What about the representation on our health?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you can look in a dream and you can see an element of your health. So, for example, you might have a dream where you're invaded by lots of people coming into your bedroom. Now, that can mean all sorts of things. Everybody's dream is different. You can't take a dream dictionary approach, but it can represent your body getting invaded by bacteria or viruses. Another one, you might see a chimney on a house that's belching black terrible smoke. Maybe you wake up and you think, yeah, I've actually got a cough or I'm about to have a lung problem. So you can kind of look at analogies in your dream and say, what could this possibly reflect about my health?
All right, Jane Teresa, now I know you interpret dreams. Can I run one of mine by you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm in a nondescript location, but items, circles, squares, they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where I start to panic and become overwhelmed. What does it mean?
All right, so you've got panic and overwhelm every time you have this dream.
Yeah.
So it's probably reflecting in the day or two to before you dream a situation, consciously or unconsciously, where you have panic and overwhelm and your dream is going, how do I deal with this? How do I deal with this? So if we looked at the rest of the dream, we would work out how to stop you feeling that panic and overwhelm in waking life.
Oh my goodness, okay, I'm feeling it. I've got to, you know, start to calm and go to bed in a really good place. Here we are talking about dreams when a huge number of people even struggle getting to sleep. Up to 90% of Australians suffer from some kind of sleep disorder, which are actually astounding figures. And Gerald, and I know that insomnia is something that you often talk about.
We crave restful sleep, don't we? And we just take it for granted. But I can help. Herbal medicine can make a big difference to sleep quality. We talked magnesium a couple of weeks ago, Luke and Rachel, but I want to introduce you today to hops, beautiful, relaxing, anti-anxiety herb, hops. And my other favourite in this combination is passiflora, passion flower. Now, this is passion fruit. It's in the same family, but passion flower or passiflora is a very gentle, relaxing way to settle restlessness. Lovely word, restlessness. We're talking here about team effort. Everything working together, and in herbal medicine we call it synergy. So we want gentle actions that work together. But the most important part in this is you get advice. Seek some advice on the best combination of the herbal remedies that are available. You will be surprised how effective they are.
Gerald, I don't struggle falling asleep. It's when I wake up in the middle of the night, I actually struggle getting back to sleep.
You're a busy person, Rachel. Young mum, lots going on, and that means that quality sleep is something that you absolutely crave. There's that word again, synergy. Look at a team effort to get things back in, to get the habit restored, but make sure you get advice from those who are very competent in what they're doing.
The A to Z of Vitamins is brought to you by Go Healthy, New Zealand's #1 premium supplement brand, now available in Australia.
Welcome back to the House of Wellness. Before the break, we got the inside info on dreams, but are there ways we can use technology to help us understand them better or even just be able to remember them? I never remember a dream ever, Jo, I have to confess. No, don't ever remember them. Vanessa Tahoe is a self-confessed tech lover, highly skilled in online content and strategy, as well as producing all kinds of digital applications. Welcome, Vanessa, our tech guru.
Thank you.
Is there anything in the dream space that we should be thinking about?
There are a wealth of apps out there, and one that I wanted to draw your attention to is Dream Journey. It's a great way to wake up in the morning, be reminded that you might want to capture your dream, put it in there, and then the best thing happens. You start to track any patterns that are emerging in your dreams. And even better, if you want to share that dream publicly, they think they have the largest dream database in the world. So you push it up onto their dream wall and you can start voyeuristically having a look at other people's dreams.
There's not naughty dreams there, though, is there?
There actually are. You can classify. If you want to put a naughty dream there, you can.
But is the purpose of that to find out whether your dreams are similar to other people around the world and maybe there's a theme going on?
I think it's really to help you feel very connected with the rest of the community, and that it's very normal to maybe have some quite strange dreams, and you can relate quite hard to the things that people are sharing there.
What about tracking the quality of your sleep?
Look, that's so important, and if you're someone who lives to dream, then you really want to have great sleep quality. An app like Sleep Cycle can be really good for that. It will start to track your behaviours and get you in better habits. What they really promise you is a restful night's sleep, so that sleep quality that you were talking about.
How does that work? I don't get it. How does an app know that you're asleep?
An app has a whole lot of sensors built in it. Look, they're not perfect, so they can hear, they can sense movement. If you have fitness trackers with these sort of apps attached, you can also get like heart rate monitors and those sort of things.
So you have to have it next to you in the room.
That's
which
the thing.
I think is
that digital
anti-intuitive.
Device underneath my body or next to my body.
You don't have to have it next to your body. You can have it on a little side table.
But they say if you want to sleep well, you have to have no devices in
I
your room.
know. There's so much contradictory advice
And
in
my
this
dog,
space.
my dog wriggles a lot, and she sleeps up on the main pillow.
Dogs dream too. What if you're
So it's
tracking
going to measure the dog's dream.
Oh yes, you know when you see puppies and their little feet
Little
going like
kickers.
that.
Finally, we know what they say.
Run! I love
How many people like Joe and I that actually don't remember a dream? I can't tell you a dream that I've ever had.
I think that's really common. There's ways that you can use apps like an app called Lucidity, which is for Android, and what it will try and do is get you in the habit of doing reality checks during your daytime. It'll give you a little reminder, and it'll mentally get you to check, am I awake or am I dreaming? If you get in that habit, you can actually begin to do that at night while you're asleep. Now, the idea is that you'll then understand a little bit more. You'll be conscious of the fact that you're dreaming if this works for you.
Wow.
You know what? It's worth giving a try.
Absolutely.
So, Vanessa, are these apps that actually have science behind them, or are they just a bit of fun?
Look, it really varies. Some are very much for entertainment value, and I think we all do love sharing a bit of a dream story. That can be great. But others, the science is getting better and better in terms of how we can track the patterns. So I think don't be too dependent on looking at your app and saying, oh, I went into deep sleep at this time. Or, you're like, didn't I
Was
get
it
up
me
and
or the
go
dog?
Well,
Was the
didn't
dog
I go
in
to the
deep
bathroom
sleep?
at that time? I'm not sure that's quite right. But what it will track much more accurately is the beginning and end of your sleep and give you a sense of, you know, are you getting the right amount of time that you need?
One of the best things I've ever done, Vanessa, a friend of mine gave me, it's called First Beat technology, like a heart rate monitor for 3 or 4 days, measures your whole nervous system and your heart rates for the night. And he was saying, mate, it looks like you're unconscious for 6 hours. You either have no conscious or you don't need a lot of sleep, because when you go out, it's lights out. You're recovering beautifully.
I'm so envious of you athletes. You get the access to the best technology in this space.
We're very simple people. We don't overthink things a lot. Unlike you, Vanessa, who's got a brain that we need to spend more time analysing. Thanks for joining us. Lots to explore in this space. Maybe to help you get a better night's sleep through a busy time. Vanessa, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Here's a satisfying soup that can be served hot or cold. My rich and creamy roasted broccoli and almond soup is not only delicious, it's also great for gut health. First things first, let's roast our broccoli, garlic and almonds for about 15 minutes. While they're in the oven, we'll prepare our bone broth. The collagen in bone broth heals your gut lining and reduces intestinal inflammation. We blend the roast veggie with cannellini beans and paprika until smooth, and then add them to the bone broth and simmer for about 10 minutes. Piping hot soup is served with crusty bread and an extra pinch of paprika, or allow it to cool, then chill and serve as a refreshing summer soup.
Welcome back to the House of Wellness. Darcy, I have to ask you a question.
Okay.
How do you feel about double dipping?
Absolute no-no. Can't have it under any circumstances. You're not a double dipper, are you?
No, absolutely not.
Dirty, rotten double dipper.
Excuse me, do not spread that rumour. It is not true, but you'd think that the 5-second rule would be more of a health hazard, perhaps, than a double dip, do you think?
I'm okay with the 5-second rule.
Well, I had a fascinating chat with food scientist Paul Dawson in the US, who has actually conducted research on that very topic.
Let's start with the double dipping. How did you conduct that experiment?
The gist of it is we took a cracker and had our subjects, if you will, dip the cracker in the dip and then measure the amount of bacteria in that dip and then compare that to when we bit the chip and dipped it. So it's a direct comparison to just dipping something in that hadn't been bitten to what had been bitten and dipped. And to be honest with you, I was kind of surprised because I thought, well, there's probably transfer of bacteria from the mouth, but probably not enough for us to really pick up or make a difference. And we found that the salsa had about 5 times more bacteria transferred to the dip than did the chocolate and the cheese.
Oh, so we want to steer clear of salsa then, in general.
Yeah. So, and at first we kind of, well, why did that happen? But then we thought, well, it's common sense really, because the salsa is much thinner. And so when you dip a chip in there, a lot more of it falls back into the common bowl. Whereas with chocolate and cheese particularly, it sticks to the chip or cracker, and therefore you don't leave as much behind, so to speak. So at a party, if someone's double dipping and you go behind them and take the same dip, it's the same thing as kissing them. And you can elaborate on that, but you know, and there's sometimes plenty of that going on, so it's maybe not a problem.
I know, but usually
on the other hand,
usually I choose who I'm to kiss, whereas when it's dip, I don't know who's been in there. What about the 5-second rule, which I'm a big supporter of? I just think pick it up, eat it, don't worry about it.
We were inoculating our surface, so we knew what was there and how much bacteria were there. And in that case, the 5-second rule is a myth, because if it's on the surface and you drop food on it, it will be transferred to the food.
Right, doesn't matter how long it's on the floor, as long as if it hits that bacteria, it will be on the food.
It'll be on the food. Yeah. And the good news is most bacteria are harmless, and actually many bacteria are actually good for us. And most surfaces aren't going to have pathogenic bacteria if bacteria make you sick in general.
What are the absolute no-goes for you? Now that you must see the world just in bacteria. What are your no-goes?
I really don't eat food off the floor, typically. If I drop it on the table and pans, I probably will pick it up, but off the floor, probably not.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to double dipping and a dip at a party, I kind of do a survey of the room and see the people who are there and the number of people there. And if there's a lot of people there and some are coughing, I kind of avoid the dip.
So if I've got you at my party and I don't see you into the dip, I think, he thinks that I'm full of bacteria. I can't be trusted.
Unless you invent a dip that has no drip. The dripless dip.
Dripless dip. I love it. Thank you so much, Paul. It's been very illuminating and kind of terrifying.
Well, thank you very much for giving me a chance to talk about it.
So, Darth.
No, that's disgusting. You need to stop right now. Seriously, that makes me feel...
And Joe's really getting into it. She's like getting the stick.
That was hilarious.
I don't want to have any part to do with it. Do you remember the former Foreign Affairs Minister, Alexander Downer?
Yes.
July 2018, double dipped, never been seen again. And I'm fine with that. He has not shown his face in public again. You can't do it.
What about
social death?
What about kids and bacteria and just not depriving them of their childhood, rolling around and things? What did Paul say about that?
I did ask him about that, and he said that, there's a lot of germs in all of us and we get sick when we have an imbalance of the germs. But there's enough there. We don't need to be, actually shoveling germs into our children
now, Joe,
to immunise them. But can I tell you, on the 5-second rule, I have a confession to make. And that is, and Paul says, don't eat food off your kitchen floor. Well, I once ate a pie off the MCG floor, right? Now,
the actual...
Did you lose a bet?
No, it was my pie, and I dropped it, and I had run out of money. I was a university student. I only had $5, and I was really hungry, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to eat that pie, and I dusted it off, and it looked really fine.
And you were fine?
And you know what? I think. Well, Paul says the kitchen is worse than anything, and so possibly I was okay.
You know how
on
we're
the
talking.
MCG floor.
That's hardcore.
We were talking to Dr. Ho this morning about gut health and good bacteria. He actually said that we need a variety of bacteria from different sources. So much so that when we buy organic veggies, they advise not to wash them to consume some of the good dirt for gut bacteria.
Interesting. Well, that is something I probably won't do. But
you love your organic strawberries.
He did also tell us, and this is how aware he is of his surroundings. When he goes to a restaurant, he washes his hands every time he touches a menu, salt and pepper shakers, even the cutlery. And I'm like, what are you, in the toilet the whole time? And when he goes to the theatre, like the cinema, if he's eating popcorn and he's touched the seat, he will go and wash his hands.
That's too much.
Okay.
I think
hard.
the sanitisers and the washing detergent is probably doing more harm than it is.
Remember the old pubs that used to have the peanuts on the bar? The most disgusting thing you'll ever
I know. What about a salad bar?
Yeah.
I mean, that sneeze guard, I don't know what that does. And
Is that what that's there for? Is it just
sneeze?
I wonder why. It was a bit awkward to get your hand under there.
And Rach talking about kids' birthday parties, because I know both of our children just had birthdays, blowing the candles out.
All the saliva.
Do not eat that cake. That is for children's germs only.
So don't live, don't have a childhood, forget it all.
It really is quite disgusting when you think about it.
Creche is the greatest hive of bacteria. You've seen your kids there and they come home with diseases you've never heard of before. for.
Yeah.
No thanks at all.
Quite right, yeah. So I don't mean to freak you out. I mean, I'm of the
That's
opinion,
all right.
you just eat what you do and take a risk. I mean, we're all still here, aren't we?
Yeah, we made it.
You didn't mean to freak us out. I think it's too late for that. You've just busted the 5-second rule right here on the House of Wellness.
Welcome back to the House of Wellness. Now, Gerald, sorry for the overshare. I am a few years off menopause, but my mum has definitely gone through it. What are some natural remedies that can assist me eventually when I do get there?
Well, firstly, Rachel, welcome to my herb garden.
Thank you.
And there are some amazing options to hormone replacement therapy that many ladies like to investigate and find out. And there are 4 or 5 herbs that really have a great long history in helping balance hormonal issues as you're approaching and going through menopause. So herbs like sage, great for heat, red clover, Cimus effusia, Vitex agnus castus, all these are modulating herbs as the highs and lows of oestrogen occur across a woman's ever-diminishing cycles. But at the end of the day, Rachel, every woman is different.
To women at that special age. I think menopause has been swept under the carpet in our culture, in many cultures around the world, and it's something that needs to be put on the table like everything else.
It's our duty in this generation to talk about menopause, to laugh about it, because, you know, while we're in it, it can feel really tough and hard.
It's full on,
you know?
It's full on, yeah.
I need to sleep with a fan on all the time, and I wake up in the night and I put the air conditioner on as well as the fan. The air conditioning in the car, the air conditioning in the kitchen, and I'm just constantly hot.
A lot of stiffness.
Yep, my legs.
Legs, feet and ankles.
Yes.
Yes, legs, feet and ankles. So you get up in the morning and you feel like you've aged 20 years and you can't walk, and it's actually inflammation. Frozen shoulders. I've had friends with frozen shoulders.
Yes, that's
frozen shoulders too. Frozen shoulders, very common. It's something about the rebalancing of the estrogen.
The dehydration. I'd forgotten dehydration.
In my case, one day the tap turned off. I just never had another period. And I was like, wow, that's done. Alcohol can trigger a hot flash.
Absolutely.
And diet. Because the reason I get swelling is dairy, wheat and sugar.
Yeah.
If I have dairy, I can hardly move.
Coffee, chocolate.
It's important, I think, to find out what your triggers are for inflammation rather than... It's not necessarily generalised. It can be particular to a body type. I actually do a lot of swimming. I was told to swim my way through menopause by someone, which I have. And to me it's delicious, because one, it's a little cooling, you know, but also I'm stretching my body.
Taking myself for a walk, and then the heat would move out of my body and leave.
I had acupuncture and herbs, and that really helped with my anxiety and moods, actually. I feel like taking this because it has red clover in it. And I know that's one of the Chinese herbs, so I'm sure this actually might really help too. And that's a tablet with red clover in it too.
And that's what it looks like in its natural form.
Yes.
I took the red clover and it was in tea form. So couldn't add sugar to it, obviously. Didn't want to add honey to it, so it tasted pretty bad, but it's effective.
There's also a mix, a natural mix that you can rub into the skin that has things like wild yam, which is this one, as part of balancing the hormones with phytoestrogens, which is in the wild yam and the soy milk.
Yes. If that's a natural medication that's being offered and it's an easy way to digest, then I will supplement, as Lou is, with how I'm managing my life in other ways, the exercise and the sleeping, and that's, I feel that's what my body's trying to get me to do.
To menopause.
Sisterhood.
To the other side.
The other side.
Get on over here and
Power
party,
surges.
ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Power surges.
Yeah, baby, power surges.
To friendships too.
Yes. Girlfriends.
To sharing.
Yeah.
To love.
To love.
Oh, what a beautiful bunch of women. And I love that they are talking and sharing their stories with such great humour. But, you know, I think it's really important that women speak about it with the men in their lives too, Gerald.
Very important.
I love hearing you speak about it.
It's a team effort, Joe.
Because, you know, we're married to men in our lives.
I have nothing constructive at all to add to that conversation. I love the women in my life. There's nothing disrespectful about it, but it just... I get awkward, Joe, I'll be honest.
No, but you've got to be understanding. You've got to hear
I'm understanding.
what we're all talking about. And you're raising
I'm there.
boys who may at some point end up in relationships with women as well. It's important that we're open about these things.
Of course it is, yeah. How do you go, Heinzie? Let's defer to you.
Is there such thing as menopause, Gerald?
Yes, there is.
Is there?
Yes, there is. Look, we should talk about that one day.
All right, I'll book an appointment.
I'm worried about you.
We're good when we're talking about ourselves, then we come into our own. You wouldn't believe how hard it is for us. It's unbelievable.
I've noticed that.
Thanks to the whole team, Gerald, Heinzie, Rach and Joe. That's our show for another week. Go to our website, houseofwellness.com.au for more info on all things healthy. And don't forget to tune into the House of Wellness radio show every Sunday.
And watch out for the latest House of Wellness lift out.
Thanks for joining us, and thank you to our great friends at Chemist Warehouse.
There's a light in the sky, rising in